Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Sean, and I'm here with more rigged and scripted football times. I'm gonna be doing a documentary, and this is part one. And everybody's like, "NFL's not rigged and scripted. You guys are crazy," and all this fucking bullshit. But what happens is you're psychologically profiled. They psychologically profile males and certain females to be uh, part of this rigged and scripted football times to distract you from what's really going on in society and actually take away your individuality and make you part of a tribe. And we're going to look at this video. I come across quite a few videos to debunk the NFL for being real. It is rigged and scripted, 100%. There are people that wrote books back in the 80s about this, and we're going to go through all this in this documentary. This is just part one. I'm also going to be doing rigged and scripted football times with Coach Script on other videos and things like that. We're going to troll these assholes, and we're going to expose them for what they are. So let's take a look at this. This is part one of rigged and scripted football time. So let's sit back and listen to what these fellas have to say.
You're fixed about the age of 15 for the rest of your life. That's how it seems. I'm not kidding either. That's how people are fixed. The guys are the same. Sports. Till the day they die, they're watching sports. They're watching international corporations that own massive sports teams where guys are paid millions of bucks each per year for throwing or kicking a ball around. Something children do. Something you grow out of as you grow up. And they knew they'd do this because H.G. Wells talked about it a long time ago. Yeah. You see, when you take away your manhood, you only project it through someone else. Someone else who pretends at a weekend to be your tribe and is fighting someone else, because in your own life you have no power at all. And you're putting on that fat gut with all the fast food you eat and the booze you drink. But there you are, suddenly you see yourself as a warrior for the weekend. What a joke. What a joke. Everyone's been manipulated by science and scientific indoctrination, including their whole psychology. That's a big part of it, the biggest part of it. Which also is going to be joined with the US under the Anglo-American establishment. Wrote about the kind of culture and the changes of culture over a 100-year period that they would actually design, implement, and bring in. And H.G. Wells talked about it too. He talked about arenas. He says arenas could be put up across the world for sports, for instance. Now, at that time, sports was something that children, school children were into. Adults became adults and got onto adult things. So it was unimaginable at the time that people could actually believe that there's even a need for adult sports and entertainment, never mind having arenas built across the world. But he said we can do this and foist basically a sports culture for the males. Using a tribal system, we're all tribal to an extent. That's why we even bother to vote for a tribal leader. This is well understood. That's why we're supplied with these leaders. And because the average man was to become more disengaged from his own destiny, as the expert class arose, it was decided that the males would get their outlet, basically, gradually becoming helpless as males through sports. Therefore, they'd have a tribal team they could identify with. They could cheer them on as they were winning. In their own personal lives, they were getting nowhere. They were getting disenfranchised in a sense as experts took over decision-making for them in all kinds of fields. So this was psychology at use, planned before they even implemented the sports.
This is a bombshell book which just came out last week, and it makes some pretty hair-raising charges against a lot of folks involved with the National Football League. The title says a lot of it: Interference, How Organized Crime Influences Professional Football. Please welcome its author, Dan Moldea. Dan? What are you hearing from the powers that be? Anything?
They just want me to go away right now.
We've spoken to them, and they don't want to talk about it either. They have nothing to say.
But they're not denying anything, and they're not refuting any of the facts.
Let me talk about some of the major charges. And I just jotted down a few of the. I mean, you're saying, for example, virtually every team owner gambles on football teams.
Well, I'm saying that no fewer than 26.
That's
NFL team owners have documented ties. Past and present NFL team owners have documented business ties to either the gambling community and/or the organized crime syndicate. I'm also saying that no fewer than 70 NFL games have been fixed.
Now that's pretty rough stuff. You're saying no fewer than 70 NFL games have been fixed. You mean the outcome, the point spread, what?
I'm saying the points were shaved and thereby fixed. Yeah.
How does this happen?
Well, I first got into this about 1983. Vincent Persani, who is the head of the Michigan State Attorney General's Office Organized Crime Division, told me, if you're going to do a book about the NFL, Dan, you're going to have to get into this guy, Don Dawson, because he was fixing games. We knew it. I went to my friends and my sources at the Internal Revenue Service, the Organized Crime Intelligence Division. They said Don Dawson was fixing games. I went to the FBI, the Organized Crime and Racketeering Section of the Justice Department, and Strike Force field offices. Everybody told me what Don Dawson was fixing games. At that point, I had enough evidence to print that allegedly Don Dawson was fixing NFL games. He was a major bookmaker in the Midwest. I then went to Dawson, I tracked him down, I jumped through all kinds of hoops to interview him, and when I interviewed him on about the 7th or 8th interview, he admitted to me that he had personally participated in the fixing of no fewer than 32 NFL games.
How does that happen?
He liked to work with the quarterback. He would go to the quarterback would come to him and say, I need some bread. What's the line on the game this week? And the bookmaker would say, you guys are favored by 6 points. And then the reply was, we're not going to cover the spread. And basically that was it.
Now, do you name players?
Oh, sure. I name players. And also in 1979, I go into the specifics of 8 fixed games that were allegedly fixed by 2 referees who were investigated by both the FBI and the IRS. And I list the 8 games on page 308 of the book.
Yeah. Are drugs involved in this at all?
Yeah, drugs are the real variable in all of this. I mean, when a drug dealer has a relationship with a player, there's an extortionate edge to that situation whereby that dealer has that player's career in his hands because of the drug policies within the NFL for throwing a person out. Within the past few years, no fewer than 9 NFL teams have been investigated because their players were receiving drugs from gamblers. Now, I know gamblers who, on principle, refuse to sell drugs, but I'm not aware of many drug dealers who, on principle, refuse to gamble. And the key here is that the NFL is very aware of the fact, and their worst case scenario is the player who's strung out can't pay his bill to his dealer, and so the dealer comes to him and says, hey, you owe me money, and the dealer says, and the player says, I told you I can't pay it, and the dealer says, that's okay, but now you're going to come and work for me.
Now, the obvious question, you're talking about all these games being fixed, you're talking about all these people involved, you're talking about going to various agencies, and they're saying who the people are involved. Why has this gone uncovered if this is the case?
What I'm also alleging in the book is that no fewer than 50 legitimate investigations of corruption within the NFL have been either suppressed or just flat out killed as a result of a sweetheart relationship between NFL security, which is the internal police force within the league, and a variety of federal and state and local law enforcement agencies. I'm a big baseball fan, and I have more respect for baseball right now because of the way it's handled the Pete Rose case in the open and honest manner that it's handled this case than I've ever had before. I have more confidence in baseball because it's handled.
Well, how do these investigations get quashed?
Basically, the NFL security people, who are all former Justice Department people, will go to their colleagues, their old colleagues in the Justice Department or in these various law enforcement agencies, and they'll say, we can handle this internally. Let us handle it internally so that we're not getting all the publicity that we would be getting. And so, to all intents and purposes, these investigations I can cite chapter and verse. Again, I cite about 50 in the book.
It is a strange sport because it is the one sport where you can go to a game and come away, even if your home team has won, disappointed because you're not as much interested in the outcome as the player.
Yeah, there's a situation where you have a game where the score is 21-20. There's 30 seconds left on the clock. The home team, you're up in the stands, and the home team has the ball on the 30-yard line. Now, the problem is that the home team had to give 3 points in the game. Now, the quarterback goes down on one knee, and the people in the stands boo. Now, they're starting to legalize gambling in Oregon. They're going to have a sports lottery, NFL lottery in Oregon, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I mean, the state isn't in the bookmaking business for eleemosynary or philanthropic purposes. Yeah. They're going to be in this to make money. They're going to take a 40 to 60% skim of the handle of the total pool of bets. And in the end, they're going to educate the public as to how to gamble, how to use the point spread. And then the public is going to realize that it can get a bigger bang for its buck from Charlie the bookie, the friendly local bookmaker at the corner bar, who's going to be put up $11 to win 10, and taking a 10% vigorish or commission on the losing bets he books.
Now, is all this, is what you have written here going to get things unearthed?
Well, I'm hoping that there'll be a federal investigation, hopefully the Senate Select Committee, to investigate organized crime's influence in all of professional sports, not just football, but on baseball and basketball as well. I'm hoping that there'll be registration and licensing of anyone with a financial interest in a professional sports team, that there will be public disclosure of financial transactions involving professional sports teams, that there'll be a further examination of public ownership of teams, so that the citizens of the cities in which these teams play, the public can have literally a piece of stock in those companies. I'm also afraid that the illegal gambling economy has become an adjunct to the First Amendment because of the insistence by the sports media to print and broadcast the betting line and to hire odds makers and handicappers for the purposes of...
That is true. You read the newspaper and the point spread is in there, and it's obviously in there to give you information for gambling, which is...
And gambling is still illegal in 49 states until September 6th, when the lottery is legalized in Oregon.
Yeah. We just have a minute here, but when you write about organized crime and involvement, does this give you any cause for concern about your own safety, and should I be doing this interview?
Yeah, sometimes it does. I had a lot of trouble when I was younger, but no one's tried to kill me in almost 6 years, so I feel pretty comfortable right now.
Well, I don't.
This is my fourth book. And I should point out, I've never been sued, and I try to treat people with respect, and I think that everybody has something to say. Everyone has an ego, and mob guys are like, human beings, and you just have to be able to push the right button with them. I've never met a mob guy who's not against wiretapping. I've never met a mob guy who's not in favor of strong personal privacy laws. I've been bored for hours by mob guys who are whining about the alleged impingements upon their rights and freedoms by the FBI and the IRS.
It's a sensational book filled with sensational charges and a lot of information to back up a lot of them. It's called Interference: How Organized Crime Influences Professional Football. Dan Moldea, its author and our guest. Thanks very much. Thank you, Dan.
Now, in that interview, you can see Pat Sajak. That's Pat Sajak. He had his own show back in the day, and he's been doing Wheel of Fortune for a long time. He felt very uncomfortable doing this interview, and this guy is lucky to be alive. But at this point, from the early 83, or like he said, he started, writing books in 83 and exposing the shit. At that point, all the states have already got together. They're going to get 40% of the cut on local, on this gambling thing by letting gambling come into their states. I believe Florida is the only state that doesn't have casinos and shit like that. They're very strict about gambling in Florida because of mafia type stuff, but they do other crooked shit because this is the South and they are known to do crooked shit down here. But as far as what I've been saying, I've been telling people the shit's been rigged and scripted. When I was younger, I thought that because I knew about this. I seen this guy on TV. I read a few of his books, and I thought the refs were in on it. And I'm like, well, the best team. I would always look at these. There were like sheets you can pick. They still do it up north and down here in Florida too. You go to the bar, you pick the teams you think is going to win. Then you pick the team for Monday night, and then you have the total amount of points. But since I know about rigged and scripted football times, I don't bet on nothing. I don't bet on any of these games. I don't care what kind of fucking gematria you use. I don't care what kind of stuff you need. They can change it in an instant. All they gotta do is make a phone call. We are technologically advanced than when he was investigating this shit, and it's a lot worse. So we're gonna go on to listen to some players that are talking about how the rigged and scripted football times is. And I know it's hard to take. I've been a huge fan my whole life of sports. And also, I've played sports. I taught tennis for a long time. I played semi-pro tennis. And I told everybody, in the 90s, I was pretty decent. I was good. And I had to have some surgeries. I had my shoulder fixed and then my hips, and I have to use my legs, and tennis is one of them sports where you have to be able to move fast and react to stuff. And my I just had 2 hip replacements, and it's really hard, so I was limited to only being able to play on clay and grass because hard courts would just tear my body up. And you got people that are hitting huge serves and all that, but it's all rigged and scripted, folks. I personally have never had anybody come to me and ask me to tank a match or anything like that. I have never seen anybody in the locker room talk about betting or tanking matches. But I have seen people quit on the court and not try hard. And that's just mental toughness, or they could have tanked the match and somebody else won money on it. It's hard to say, but I personally have not encountered any of that in the tennis. When I was playing tennis, I just in the locker room or even heard talk of it, because you would get your your card taken from you, and you'd be kicked off the circuit immediately. The tennis organization was strict back in the 90s. I don't know how they are now. Things have changed. This is 30 years ago. Okay? This is like 32 years ago. So things have changed. It's gotten worse. It's WWE. And as I tell everybody, I don't have a problem with people watching the games. I have a problem with people betting on the games because you're losing money. And that asshole Pat McAfee and AJ are pushing and they're fucking shilling for people to bet on these games. Geometry Effects shilling for people to bet on these games. They know the games are rigged and scripted, and they know that you have no chance to know exactly 100% who is going to win them games, because you can have everything sorted out with the Gematria. You can have everything sorted out on paper and be 100% right. And all it takes is 9 seconds, like the Steelers. Fumble the ball, the guy runs in, game over. Or take a knee, you lose yards. Or a guy intentionally throws the ball, like my man Jake the asshole was showing today. Buffalo had touchdown, easy touchdown. Allen threw the ball right into the ground. So you're not getting a touchdown, you're not getting no points, and the whole point thing is screwed up. Yes, the Dolphins won, but the fact of the matter, it's all about points. The dude just told you they shave points intentionally, and that was back in the day. Can you imagine what they do now? With millions of dollars invested, Sports Kings, apps where they're going to give you free, $200 for free to bet on these games because they know they're going to get all your money in the end. $57 million was on the line in the Super Bowl, and they lost. The bettors lost, not the company. They got their fucking money, and they told them fellas on the phone, if that kid gets one fucking yard, there's going to be a problem. He's telling you mafia type stuff is involved in it. We have mafia in the government. We have mafia in sports. It's all a distraction to get you to not know what the hell is going on. You're supposed to be an individual. You're supposed to have your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own way of doing things. We're not a collective soul. We're individual souls. If God didn't want us to have free will, He wouldn't give it to us. Okay? That's the facts. I love you guys. I'm here for you. I don't want you to lose your money, and that's all I care about. And I want you to enjoy your life and not fight over politics and not fight over this bullshit, because the stuff is rigged and scripted. This man's telling you. There's many a men that come out, and he's lucky to be alive, to be honest with you. So we're going to talk. We're going to look at the players, and I'm going to show you what they're saying about it. Okay.
37 champion Dwight Smith, who was a part of that team, 2 pick sixes. We all know what he did against the Raiders. But he joins us here in the Ronnie T. Crash Show as we count down to Super Bowl Sunday. Dwight, Ronnie, and Tom here. How are you? Welcome to the show. All right.
We have coming right.
There it is.
Is that right? Well, we got a great matchup coming up with Super Bowl 55. Obviously, the Buccaneers are playing up.
Now, all these dudes, all these sports radio shows, all of the things that we all grew up with, when it comes out that this shit is WWE and rigged and scripted football times, they are out of a fucking job. They're going to have to get a real job. No more getting on TV telling you, well, I think the Steelers should put in Pickett, or we need, did you see that catch the other day, the one-handed catch? Oh, my God. George Pickett is the greater, whatever the fuck his name is. Pritchett is the quarterback, I'm meant to say, from Pittsburgh. And George Pickett, is the receiver with the one-handed catch. And I've been telling her with magnets. They were using magnets. I was like, what the fuck are the odds of 3 different guys on the same team? Week 1, you had a Claypool, electric catch. Number 2, week 2, Deontay Johnson, electric catch. And now George Pickens, electric catch in 3. And you're going to see another one in 4. I mean, this is going to keep going on and on and on. They're all going to be out of a fucking job. And the fact that they probably know, they're acting like they don't know because this guy's really tearing them. You're going to hear what he says. For you guys that haven't, and ladies that haven't heard this. This has been all over the internet for years. Since last year, since 2020, this has been on the internet. And Larry Johnson, which was a beast.
On their
for the
home
Chiefs.
field, they're not the home team, I guess. I guess you could say they're the home team, but it's supposed to be a neutral field. But just tell me, as a former Buccaneer, how surreal is this for the Bucs to be in the Super Bowl in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium?
That's a good question, man. I would like to ask some Tampa fans that question because I really don't know.
Well, I mean, this is something that no one's ever seen before. I mean, you're hosting the Super Bowl. The Bucs are in it. It's Brady versus Mahomes. I mean,
something I predicted at the beginning of the year. I said if the NFL wanted to have the home team in the Super Bowl, this would be the perfect year. Pandemic, people can't travel, so it's not a shock to me.
How big of an advantage do you think it will be for the Buccaneers not having to travel anywhere? Because obviously, when you were in the Super Bowl...
That's not no advantage. I don't have no advantage.
No advantage? Okay.
No.
All right, so...
Everybody's saying they have advantage at every home game during the year. So, I mean, it ain't like they won every home game. So it ain't much of an advantage. Yeah, y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field. So, I don't get into all the X's and O's and talking, man. Like I said, I played in the game. I set a Super Bowl record, and we knew every play they was running before the game started. So, hey, who am I to say?
Well, tell us about that week leading up to the Super Bowl because... that was the big thing. Bill Callahan was the Raiders coach at the time. Obviously, John Gruden had just come over. Tell us about that week of preparation leading up to the game and how it was executed by you guys. I mean, you could know which plays are coming. And
Tim Brown and Jerry Rice come out and say that they made them run Jerry Rice. John Gruden's offense.
Yes. Yeah. It was his offense, and you guys knew exactly what was coming. Did you know every single play?
They didn't run that offense all year, though. Ain't it odd that you would run it when you're playing against us?
So did you guys know every play before the ball was snapped?
I'm just saying, man, the game ain't decided on the field. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't about who has the best players. Football is entertainment. So what's the most entertaining Super Bowl? The Bucs in their first one against Patrick Mahomes. Has nothing to do with if these are the best teams because we know that these aren't the best teams. The Bucs are not the best NFC team.
So who's the best team in the NFC, in your opinion?
The Green Bay Packers.
But the Bucs beat them at Lambeau, though. I mean, the Bucs proved it. They went there to beat Aaron Rodgers at his place.
You can say what you want, man. Like I say, the game ain't decided on the field.
But the Bucs beat Green Bay like 38-10 at Raymond James Stadium in the regular season.
You're not listening to me, man. You keep saying that.
So how is it decided then if it's not on the field?
The Giants won the Super Bowl in 2007. I had two pick sixes. One I took back 93 yards, another pick up there in New York. We beat them 40-something. We didn't have Adrian Peterson. They went on to win a Super Bowl. Like, come on, who beat what and how? Like, come on, man. Stop that.
All right, so how do you see this one playing out on Sunday?
It depends on when Vegas make that call. How Vegas ain't going to lose the most money.
So do you think the Bucs' original Super Bowl that you were a part of and won was illegitimate?
I think everyone is.
If you don't mind me asking then, and we obviously appreciate giving us a little bit of time, why do an interview for the Super Bowl if you don't believe that it's set up the right way?
Y'all asked me to. Don't nobody call me no other time until Super Bowl come, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Did anybody when we got on the phone say, hey, how's your family doing? How your kids doing? No, none of that matters. So I'm gonna give you my honest opinion.
And I appreciate that. We do.
We do.
I mean, that is our job, though, is to talk sports. I mean, it's not personal.
So what is your honest...
job to be real.
We understand that. So what is your honest opinion of Tom Brady being in 10 Super Bowls?
Good luck. A lot of luck,
Okay.
because, you know, everybody say Tom Brady, but if I can remember, there's a lot of kickers kicking kicks for him to make it there.
Well, Tom Brady did put him in a position to make those
So did Jim
kicks.
Kelly. So did Jim Kelly, but his kicker missed the kick.
He did. He did miss a kick.
He did. He did.
He did miss a kick. He also lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
But it's Jim Kelly's fault. Or it's not Tom Brady's fault. If his kicker do, like, come on, man. Whoa, boy, man. We break stuff down like it's so small. Like, this is the only reason that it happened. Like, come on, man.
So the reason you guys won the Super Bowl wasn't because of your outstanding defense. It was because that's the way it was predetermined. That's what you.
Well, I mean, if our defense was so outstanding, why we couldn't beat the Saints that year? Saints beat us twice. So why did the Oakland Raiders say we're gonna go in with the Saints game plan? Because they had Deuce McCall, they ran the ball down our throat. Why did they come in and say we're gonna do the same thing?
All right, D.
Now there's no more one to talk.
Well, we don't know what else to say.
We're just caught off guard a little bit. That's all.
A little bit.
To be honest with you.
Let's talk about the fact that the Lions made Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders give back money, but they traded Matthew Stafford when he wanted to be.
Yeah, well, hey.
Barry Sanders didn't want to play for John Ross.
Let's not talk about the real things, man. Let's just talk about that. I got you, man. I got you.
Well, Barry Sanders didn't want to play for Bobby Ross, but that's another story for another day.
So
him and Calvin Johnson both asked to be traded. They wanted to go somewhere where they could try to win. They made them retire and give some of their money back.
all right, so let's for just a second. I just want to get your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and what he's done at his young age.
It's great, man. I mean, the key for me with most teams is let's see how your team performs after your quarterback rookie contract kicks in. After, you know, he's off his rookie contract.
So what do you think about Jameis Winston's time in Tampa Bay now that he's in New Orleans? Because
never liked it. Now back to what I was saying. We watched the Seattle Seahawks be good until they paid Russell Wilson. We watched the Packers go to the Super Bowl until they paid Aaron Rodgers. The Eagles would win. The Rams would golf. So you know you got to try to do it while you're on your rookie deal, unless you got Tom Brady as your quarterback.
All right, so how do you see this game playing out? I guess it's you already told us, right? It's just depending on what Vegas wants it to be, right?
Yeah, the New England Rams game 10-3, man. Who thought that would happen?
All right, Dwight, man, we appreciate a few minutes.
The program. So, and people were like, why are you saying this? You used to play. I'm like, yeah. I said, me speaking about this really goes against me. Like, my annuities and my portfolios in the NFL. It's under the NFL. So if they go down, my stuff goes down. But I feel like you guys' souls mean much to me, so you can see the bigger picture. So you don't have to argue with Wednesday at 3 p.m. with a fan that's a Patriots fan. Y'all guys cussing each other out. And it's not even, it's just all scripted. Like, you want me to say, it's like, I can't tell you if I was scripted when I was playing it because I'm underneath that matrix where I'm just going, running my plays. But when you look at it outside of it, you see these calls that are being called don't make sense. You see the penalties that are happening. Like, so I want people to detach from making NFL football their idol and work.
Now read that. Coach told us in the middle of the fourth to give the game to New England. We didn't want to, but the commissioner said.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
Now you had Marshawn Lynch that was killing them, literally running amok on these fucking idiots, and you throw a ball to the defensive back. I think it was defensive back or linebacker, one or two. I don't even care. Nobody in their right mind would do this. It was intentional. It was scripted. After me showing you what's coming up next, and after me showing you all the stuff that these people have been doing for years, and you don't believe that it's not written and scripted, you're gone. I mean, you're just shot out. You don't want to believe it, and that's understandable, but there's going to be worse things coming our way than fucking rigged and scripted football times, and I don't think that you're going to be able to make it through life after you find out what's coming.
Unreal! Malcolm Butler, who almost made the phenomenal play that wound up
He's not even pissed.
Arms. There are flags on the field for celebration. Amazing.
52 fucking
Butler,
points.
a rookie free agent out of West Alabama.
They try to pick play, Al. They tried to go here, but he beats him to the punch. And I'm sorry, but I can't believe the call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call. You've got Marshawn Lynch in the
Look at that.
backfield.
Not
You
even
got
that. If
a guy
anything,
that's-
that's actually pass interference. Sorry,
The
that's
news that
actually
the
pass
fixer
interference,
or group.
and that is crazy.
The phenomenal play. that
Not mad,
Percy's
nothing, it's all
arms are
scripted.
flags on the field for celebration. Amazing. Butler, a rookie free agent out of West Alabama.
They try to pick play, Al. They try
Watch
to go
this.
here, but he beats him to the punch.
Boom!
And
Hits
I'm
the
sorry,
receiver, knocks
but I
him on
can't
his
believe the
ass.
call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call. You've got Marshawn Lynch in the
Even though it's
backfield.
badass call, that's
You've got
completely.
a
They,
guy
now
that's
they would call pass
borderline
interference on that.
unstoppable in this part.
If that was the Patriots and it was other way around, which Bill Belichick would never run that play, but if it was the other way around and New England and Tommy Brady threw that ball to let's say Amendola or whoever, or Wes Walker at this point, I think Wes Walker was playing for him back then, and he ran in that same play, and that defensive back hit that guy on the line like that and intercepted the ball, there would be a penalty flag. They would have got a first down, and they would have scored a touchdown, and New England would have won anyway. That's what I'm saying. It's that rigged.
Part of the field. I can't believe the call.
And people don't realize this, but Tom Brady Sr. has a net worth of $3.1 billion from running an insurance company back from the 70s and from San Francisco. So there's nothing normal about Tom Brady's upbringing. He came up a filthy rich person. You can't even find interviews of any of his schoolmates or anybody any girls he's ever dated in high school or any shit like that. No friends, no childhood friends. None of that stuff. You can't find no information about Tom Brady. Go on Google and see if you can find out anything.
And there's Brady. As demonstrative as ever.
Keenum's going to try to work the ball.
Now this is great. This is awesome, Rick Descriptive Football Times. Watch this.
Steps into it.
Bing, Diggs. These are the most rigged plays in the NFL to get teams to get in the playoffs and advance. And then we got more stuff coming. Look at Drew Brees. He knows. Intentionally rigged game. Another game where they just let them score.
I'm not sure really what he's thinking.
I'm not sure what he's thinking. He's thinking he's taking out his own player. Did you see that? He literally took out his own player. This was a great tackle by number 43. Watch him. Watch this. He's going to take out his own guy. Bang! Nice tackle. The wrong fella, but it was still a good tackle. He's making sure Steph got in there. Game is over.
He's catching this. He's expecting somebody to hit him.
Boom!
Turns around. Heck, nobody's there. And he's off to the races. And it's
Troy Aikman didn't even say exactly what happened. That the guy knocked out his own player.
And Case Keenum has just taken the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship game in a game.
Here we go. Here's more rigged and scripted football times. Watch this one.
Gets the snap, wants to throw it.
Jesse James caught the ball for a touchdown, and they said it was not a touchdown because they didn't want the Steelers to have home field advantage in the playoffs. This was called the Jesse James catch. He caught this for a touchdown. Everybody saw it, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm telling you. Then I started waking up. This is one of the games that started waking me up. I was like, what the fuck? This is really rigged. This is beyond rigged and scripted. Not only is it rigged and scripted, the referees are going to make sure the Patriots get home field advantage.
Steelers leapfrog back ahead with 28 seconds to go.
Previous play will go under review.
They are verifying it upstairs, and there's no doubt it's going to hold up.
That's a touchdown. It's got to be a touchdown.
Look at James. Now, Smith-Schuster's going to wall off the safety, and James is right in front of him. He's down, but no one touches him, so he's going to get in the end this is going to stand unless he gets touched.
No, he's in. He never got touched.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wolf, what's it feel like down on the sidelines?
Feels like winning, baby. Now the Steelers have a 3-point lead. If this holds up, and it should, from our view, for every replay we looked at.
Let's go! Let's go!
Referee Tony Corrente.
After reviewing the play, the receiver in the end zone did not survive the ground. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be Pittsburgh's ball, 2nd down and 10 at the 10-yard line. The game clock is 10.
I can't watch any more of this. This is just too fucking much. It's so rigged and scripted that we're gonna actually watch this last play. Then I'm gonna stop because I want you to see this no call pass interference along with that bullshit we just saw. Jesse James did catch that ball. He did score, and the refs turned the game around because of points. The guy earlier Brian was telling you how they shaved the game, how they shaved the points. And if it was up to me, I would literally take these referees and impale them just like the fucking Vlad did. And I would stick them out in front of every goddamn stadium in fucking America and say, this is what we do to people that rig and script games.
Quick snap. Breeze.
Bang! Interference. No pass interference call.
For Tommy Lee Lewis.
Now this play right here caused the NFL to make rules on pass interference, supposedly, that this won't happen again. But everybody in the country, even biased people that aren't fans of either one of these teams, were like, okay, Drew's going to get the ball at the 4-yard line. I think that's where it happened. Or maybe inside. It was like 4 in the 5-yard. We'll look at it again. But it's inside the 5. Sean Payton's losing his fucking mind. So look, right here.
Crowd's going crazy.
Yeah, he's at the 5 or 6 yard line. Perfectly thrown football. Boom. There's a definitely pass interference. No flag. Done intentionally because they wanted the Rams to move on.
Is justifiably upset. Mike Pereira, if that was a penalty, that would have in essence ended the game. Did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, I really do. I know it's easy in slow motion. They're close to bang bang, but that was early enough. Even high contact on the
receipt. Clearly contact before the ball got there. Yeah, he had. I mean, all he was doing was staring down Lewis and just playing the man, and never got turned on. I mean, it can't be any more obvious than that.
Yeah, that was at the 3-yard line. I'm sorry.
He just lays it up for Freeman, and it's incomplete.
No, it's not. Not in rigged and scripted football times, it's not. Not in rigged and scripted football times, it's not. No. In rigged and scripted football times, that's a live football over there. Look at they push the ball back on him. God almighty, they might have had magnets back in 2000, dude. Did you see the ball magnetized off his helmet? Holy Mary, Mother of God. The balls on these people to show you the replays on this fucking shit.
And it is another manic Monday. Remember, he talks about being careful.
Well, you can go look these up. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. I'm not even going to be bothered showing you any more of these highlights on this video because this video is long and it's documentary. I'm trying to wake everybody up to the fact that these games are rigged and scripted. Don't bet on them. Please don't bet on them. And I'm so happy to see bigger channels involved now, and I'm seeing more and more channels coming around starting rigged and scripted football times. And I would just ask these channels that are starting, the new ones, please don't start selling bets on these fucking games. You're not going to figure out how to win consistently, and you're only going to make people pissed off if you start losing on these games. So do it the right thing. Expose it for being rigged and scripted. Tell people if they want to bet on them, then they're going to lose money because you are in the end. You can see how much you're going to win, and you're going to see how much you're going to lose at the end, and you're always going to be losing. There's no way for you to know who's going to win these games. It's that rigged and scripted. They can change the game at any time, in any way, anyhow, because the referees are in on it and they control what's going on. And until you start impaling these people and sticking them out in front of fucking stadiums for running rigged and scripted games, and I would even say impale the owners and Roger Goodell and all of them, because they have stolen hundreds of millions of dollars off of innocent people, and their punishment should fit their crime. And I feel impalement would be a great way to show, this is how we roll. We ain't going to tolerate this type of stuff. And I don't want to hear nothing about cruel and unusual punishment, because people have literally committed suicide over losing money. And even that dude, Zach, or fucking whatever his name is, Gematria Effects, he had guys commit suicide on his bad fucking picks, and he's a fucking scumbag, and he says horrible things about black people, and he says horrible things about Christians, and he should be ostracized and shunned from fucking civilized communities. So that's my opinion. Stop listening to these people. Nobody knows 100%, and I don't even care if you win 55% of the time. The other 45% that you're losing is going to be a lot to where you're not going to have profit. So the NFL is 100% rigged and scripted, and matter of fact, all sports are. All you got to do is look at this bullshit that's going on with Aaron Judge and him breaking hitting 61 home runs, which has been done before. We got our boy Barry Bonds that's hit 73 home runs in one season, and no one even talks about it because they're talking about steroids. Who gives a shit? It's all rigged and scripted. No, none of this shit is straight and legit. I appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. And we'll be making more videos, and I'm going to be exposing more of this, and we're going to be doing more stuff with Coach Script. Right now, I'm in the middle of a hurricane that's coming, so I have to, get some more stuff sorted out around my house. So I already got the boards up. I already got all that stuff sorted out. I'm one of those people that I buy water all the time, so I got about 5 cases of water. I also have food and supplies, and I have plenty of lead. So if anybody tries to do any fuckery during these times, I pray for them. They would have picked the wrong house, because everybody in my home is trained to use what we need to use to defend our home. Because you do have looters trying to do bullshit during hurricane times, unfortunately. So I appreciate all the support. And as I said, I'm waiting on my laptop to get back. Then I'm going to give out that free box of cards for the winners, okay? We're going to do a draw. I haven't forgot about it. My laptop is fucked up, and they're fixing it for me. So once that's sorted out, I will be giving that away. I do appreciate your support. I do appreciate you guys and ladies out here watching my videos. And I wanted to thank everybody. And have a good day. And know that the NFL is rigged and scripted. Don't bet on this shit.